Hello guys, I'm going to be doing a talk about free birds. The plot about this is Raggy the turkey has always been afraid of Thanksgiving because turkeys have always been on the menu, but his attempts to warn his farm-based flock constantly fall on deaf ears and has made him an outcast. When the other turkeys finally realize what is going on, they thoughtlessly throw Raggy outside in an attempt to save themselves, instead of listening to his escape plan. In a surprise twist of fate, he winds up being named the pardon turkey by the President of the United States, and is subsequently taken to Camp David. Although initially hesitant, Raggy soon eases into a routine of doing nothing but enjoying pizza delivered to him by the pizza dude, and watching Mexican telenovelas. He gets kidnapped by Jake, a member of the Turkey Freedom Front, who tells him that a great turkey told him to find Raggy and take him back to the first Thanksgiving with him to take turkeys off the menu once and for all. They then infiltrate the base where a time machine is located. Despite interference by federal officials and an attempt by Raggy to trick him back to the surface, Jake manages to commandeer an egg-shaped time machine with an AI software named Space-Time Exploration Vehicle Envoy. Jake instructs Space-Time Exploration Vehicle Envoy to time travel back to the same day in 1621, 3 days before the first Thanksgiving. Once there, they are ambushed by colonial hunters led by Miles Standish, but they are quickly rescued by native turkeys led by Chief Broadbeak and his 2 children, Ranger and Jenny. Broadbeak explains that the turkeys in the area have been forced underground since the settlers came, and that they cannot risk fighting back without the settlers taking them. The next day, Broadbeak orders Jake with Ranger to spy on the settlers and Raggy with Jenny to spring all the hunting traps the humans set up. Despite initial hostility, Ranger and Jake find out that the settlers have already begun preparations for Thanksgiving and where they keep their weapons. Meanwhile, Jenny believes in Raggy for lying about being from the future and is impressed with his accidental unorthodox way of springing the traps. However, they are soon intercepted by Standish and Raggy is forced to get her in orbit over the planet aboard Space-Time Exploration Vehicle Envoy, validating everything he said in the process. Raggy asks Jenny to go back to the future with him once everything blows over, but she refuses to leave the flock, no matter how much she likes him. Jake then drags Raggy away and tells him he has a plan to attack the settlers. However, Raggy has gotten sick of all his improbable stories and threatens to leave. Desperate, Jake tells him that this trip was more about him making up for his failure to save turkey eggs while escaping a turkey fattening facility when he was young, maintaining that the great turkey convinced him to go through with this. While still reluctant to believe what he said, Raggy still goes along with the plan. They manage to use gunpowder to destroy the weapons shack, but Jake inadvertently leaves a gunpowder trail back to the tree the turkeys are hiding under. Standish and his men flush the turkeys out from underground, capturing enough for the feast. Broadbeak sacrifices his life to get the remaining turkeys into the tide pool. Afterward, Raggy returns home, where he discovers from Steve that he is the great turkey. Jenny is sworn in as the new chief and orders the remaining turkeys to prepare an attack on the settlers. Jenny, Jake and Ranger lead the turkeys in an attack on the settlement, just as Chief Massasoit and his tribe of Indians arrive. Inspired, Raggy goes back in time to stop the attack, inadvertently trapping Standish in the time stream. Through Steve and the pizza dude, Raggy convinces the settlers and the Indians that pizza is a more acceptable food than turkeys, taking them off the Thanksgiving menu entirely. Raggy stays with Jenny, while Jake takes Steve in order to look for new adventures. In the mid-credits, Jake returns moments after leaving Raggy and Jenny. With a chicken and duck in his wings, Jake begins telling every turkey present about the turducken, implicating that Standish's erasure from history has thrown the future out of whack. Now, let's talk about the bad qualities and why I don't like this movie. 1. It knocked off Element from Chicken Run. Raggy, the main protagonist, is extremely unlikable. 2. At first Raggy was at least a tolerable character at the beginning of the movie, when he tried to warn the other turkeys about Thanksgiving, but soon became a really big jerk to Jake after Chief Broadbeak's death. Miles Standish is completely weak as a villain. 3. There is an animation error where the face paint on the turkey's face disappears. 4. Obvious product placement like Old Navy and Chuck E. Cheese's. 5. Speaking of Chuck E. Cheese's, pizza from there is delivered to Raggy, despite Chuck E. Cheese's not delivering food until 2018, 5 years later after this movie's release. 6. There are a lot of butt shots and sexual innuendos that don't even deserve to be in the film at all. Pointless running gag where Jenna's eye pupil goes numb. 7. An extremely poor ending with a ridiculous plot twist is extremely dumb, as the problem of turkeys being eaten for Thanksgiving is solved with replacing turkeys with pizza. 8. Speaking of that, the first Thanksgiving took place in 1621. However, pizza did not yet exist until 1889, 268 years after the first Thanksgiving, making the ending very pointless. 9. The idea of two turkeys traveling back in time to stop the first Thanksgiving is unique and interesting, but was executed horribly. That's all for now.